Good evening,
Hey,
good afternoon. What's up, Wallo?
hey, what's happening, Shay?
Long time no see, everybody. Welcome to the premier virtual book event with a Wallo267. I am Shay M. Lawson, Esquire. Of course, you know the man of the hour, Wallace Peoples, Wallo267. For those of you who don't know, we are here to talk about his new book, Armed with Good Intentions. It is out, it is out, it is out. And today you can go to goodintentionsbook.com and get 15% off autographed editions today with the code GOOD15. The word good and the number 15, 1 5. So without further ado, I'm going to hop in and introduce you, Wallow. There may be some folks who don't know you.
Yeah, that's
Wallow
understandable.
Wallow is a multi hyphenated entrepreneur and a social influencer, a longtime client of mine, a 3 time TEDx speaker who has reached millions of people globally. He co hosts $1 million worth of game, which is consistently a #1 Apple podcast. He is also the cultural advisor for YouTube, and he also has a foundation. He works with transforming probation and parole systems and is a thought after thought leader. Everybody, clap it up virtually for Wallow. What's up, Wallow? How you
Shay,
feeling?
I'm loving it, Shay. I'm just loving the energy around the book. I'm getting I'm to my excellent feedback. Everybody's loving it. I'm just happy, I'm happy we're here. I'm happy we finally here. I'm happy I
Well, I'm
got to
happy.
sign the books. I got to sign the books with Premiere. I'm happy that Premiere gave me the opportunity to be a part of that whole thing that they got going on, which is a beautiful program. So I'm happy, man.
Speaking of Premiere and the opportunity with them, tell the folks about the giveaway if they get their signed book from Premiere Books. What are you giving away?
It is a connection loss, reconnecting.
Nope, you're
You see
there.
that?
We can see you.
All right, I'm still. Let's say, oops, connection law. Or well, the opportunity they're gonna get is a half hour face Zoom. So it's gonna be stuff. Ask me anything. Just ask me anything. We great for somebody that bought this book. Somebody gonna get picked out of somebody that bought a book. One of these autographed copy books for me.
We got a lot of questions from people who previously purchased the book prior to today. And that was Chris from Massachusetts. That was his #1 question. He said, how do I speak to you privately for 5 minutes? So, first of all, shout out to Chris for
Shout
picking
out to
up the
Chris.
book. It's not all right. I want to get into it because speaking of the book, just like I said, you have been a long time client. I've
Yes,
known you
long.
for a very long time.
Yes.
And I learned so much about you that I just did not know from this book. And although this is your first book with a major publisher, this is not your first book. So,
Mm.
talk to me about your first 2 books and why you decided to go in a different direction for this one.
Oh well, it was really three. The Mind of Wallow 1, 2, and 3. Basically, was a lot of my videos from social media, whatever. This is the real book. There was just books of me, some of my talking, videos. It was to my videos and stuff like that. This was about the journey, my upbringing, going through prison, coming home, figuring out life, not knowing myself, insecurities, fears, being a follower. All here with this book, the similar that most people go through, but most people give up, and I didn't. So I just wanted to share the similarities that I share with a lot of people in the world. It's a lot of people that go through the ups and downs, just like I. Might be different situations, but it's ups and downs in life, and just to show that I ain't give up. And when you don't give up, great things can happen.
I love that. Early in the book, you talk about Earl,
Karate
and
Earl.
you talk about the fact, you know, that he was somebody in the neighborhood who did his own thing. But one of the things that you mentioned, and this is on page 14, you said, what made my interaction with Earl special was that he didn't use my age as a reason to treat me like I didn't matter. He engaged my interests as sincere and taught me what he knew. How do you think just adults taking kids or just young people seriously would have changed the trajectory of your life or somebody else's life, right now?
I think as a kid you have an unbelievable imagination, and it's a lot of things you want to do. But it's not just about all the things you want to do. It's just somebody taking time to listen to you, pay you attention, or give energy to you, give energy to your ideas or whatever's going on. And I think a lot of times nobody have that. A lot of people don't have that. And I think that's make you go into different paths, and you get introduced to so many different things that you probably wouldn't get introduced to if you had somebody really being staying on you, being in your life, encouraging you, pushing you in the right direction, and also listening to you and paying attention to the things you might have or ideas you might have, and trying to you're trying to help you materialize some of the things you want to do, even as a young age. But just being supportive. That support is very important, especially at a young age. And Earl always paid attention. Earl would talk. Earl would sit there and be quiet and listen, and he taught me a lot of things.
I think that when you're talking about sitting down and listening and hearing what people say, there's so much power in words, and that you motivate people every day with the words that you have for them. But something that like really caught my attention in the book were all of the reports, especially in the beginning in juvie, and
Yeah.
the things that people said. And later on in the book, you said that a lot of people lack professionalism in their reporting, and it was reckless, and it was liable to cause a lot of things. Like, can you talk a little bit about how did it make you feel as an adult going back and reading those things in your file? And then I think my follow-up to that is, has that influenced the what you believe about the power of the word?
Yeah, you know what's crazy? When I look at them things and I remember the times when them files was created, I think about how they used to treat me, how some counselors would treat me, how some of the staff members would treat me, and it all connected with each other. But I didn't know where sometimes it was coming from because I didn't have access to them until later on in life. I didn't have access to them files right there until I got out of prison this time. And
Mm.
I had got all my paperwork, so I didn't. You understand now. 2017. About that till I was 38, coming home from prison and just getting my paperwork, saying, "Damn, they were saying some crazy." I didn't know. No, because you would sit there with
Wow.
people. You would sit there with these people when you're growing up in the institutions, especially juvenile facilities. I'm sitting there with these people, and it's like they ask me these questions, and I'm responding based off of the questions they ask me, or where I'm at in life, or how I'm feeling, and they sitting there writing notes. You don't know what they writing. But I vividly
Mm.
remember always going to see these different people because they always got to do evaluations and all that. And they just sitting there writing. And they looking at you all nice. And what else? Yeah. And you don't know. So it's like, damn, they was writing all. But I thought about the times of how they would deal with me, how they would treat me, how they would handle me, all types of stuff. And I never even knew. You never know until, decades later.
That is so crazy that you had no idea what was going on. But I think you talk a little bit about, if this is happening on an institutional level, your experience now, on a business level. And one of the things that you said was that you play green as a frog. That you were playing green as a frog while you were incarcerated, because you never know what was going to happen. And it kind of seems the same way what you're talking about right now with the people who were, measuring you, is similar to how people interact now in the business world. Do you feel like you've taken a lot of things from your time in incarceration to now how you handle business and just navigate people and spaces?
Yeah, I think sometimes you just got to just sit back. I call it like this. You got to sit back sometime, man, and just, because when you sit back, they show you everything. You ain't got to jump out there. Sometimes you ain't even got to verbalize your word for whatever. You just got to sit back sometime. And when you sit back, they're gonna give you everything, and that's equivalent to playing green and just understanding. Like when some people think you don't know what's going on, they'll say anything, present anything. And sometimes you just got to sit back and just wait it out, and then you can be able to say, no, this is what it is, and that's what I do now. Just sit back.
Floyd from Maryland submitted a question and said, serving 20 years in the correctional system is no easy fate. Was there ever a time in which you didn't see hope or a future outside of incarceration?
You know, you had your weak moments where you just be like, damn, I want to get out. Or you had your moments like, man, you know, you're thinking about what I'm gonna do when I get out of jail. Cause you see so many people do a big time and then they do the time and then they come back. You be like, hold up. He just did 25 years. He ain't been home a year. He just did 10 years. He ain't been. So you just be like, man, you had a fear. Like I was always fearful, like, man, I don't want to come back. I just hope I get out here and can do right. I hope I can stay consistent. So you had them moments during the time that you're doing in prison because you keep seeing all these guys come back that did a bunch of time that said they had a right, they had life figured out, they were sharp, they had their minds together, and you'd be like, hold up, he just went home, he did 20 years, he went home, he back in 7 months. So it was a fear there. It was definitely a fear of the unknown. You don't know. So you have moments where you just like, man, I don't, and then you have moments when you in there like, I got 8 years and I still got more to go. And you just be like, it sometimes can wear on you. So you have the moments. If you're not human, if you don't. And I had a lot of them
Yeah.
dark moments where it was just like, it was just painful. The journey, it was like, I couldn't even see at the end of the tunnel some days, but I always stay hopeful. And I always believe that tomorrow's gonna be better than yesterday. So at the same time, I'm like, my time's gonna come.
Lamario from Georgia, on that same note, you said you saw people go and come back. You did the same thing. You got out
Yep.
and you
Hmm.
came back. And so his question is, do you think that you could be who you are right now without having gone through all of those things, without going back twice, without living through everything you went through? Do you still think you would end up being you right now and having the success you have and the mindset
No,
you have?
no, because time helped me a lot. That time sitting back helped me educate myself more. Being able to evaluate my whole life, my whole the risks I was willing to take for nothing. Just being able to sit back and actually grow and mature. And my alarm clock coming on. The alarm clock is one of the most important things that can happen to you because when your alarm clock come on, now you're finally receptive to all the information that you're reading about, you're seeing. Now you wait because if your alarm clock don't come on, and that alarm clock is you're woke, you're awake, and you're ready to be responsible, you're ready to be accountable, you're ready to take action on everything that you need to do in order to put yourself in a different department in life, to start being successful, to start building stuff that you're not doing it illegally. You building stuff so you can have a good life, to start being a productive citizen. You know what I mean, law-abiding citizen. So once the alarm clock came on, it was like, man, it's on. But it happened while I was in prison, and I don't know if I would have been able to reach that point, being out in the free world with all the distractions coming from a street mentality. So that was the greatest thing that probably happened to me going to prison.
All right, if you are just joining us, we are with author Wallace Wallo267, People's author of Armed of Good with Good Intentions. You can go to goodintentionsbook.com and get 15% off your autographed edition today with code GOOD15. The word good and the number 15, 1 5, Armed with Good Intentions, the signed copies. If you didn't hear about the giveaway earlier, everyone who purchases a signed book through Premiere will be entered into a drawing to get a 30-minute one-on-one private Zoom call with Wallo. I want to go to some kind of lighter things in the book. You talk a lot about music and singing, and something that you said was that singing other words is easy. Coming up with your own words is what's hard. What are your top two go-to songs? When you're really trying to get in sweet with somebody.
You know what's crazy? I can't. All right, all right. So. I can't really say. Damn, I'm ready to say my songs. I wish you would have just said my songs that I listen to. But I'm gonna tell them that anyway. Like my songs outside of the getting in sweet with somebody. I'm gonna tell you that second. My number one song in the world of all times, if I just had to listen to one song every
Yeah.
day for the rest of my life, would be "Sounds of Blackness," "Optimistic." That's my number one song. My number two song, and this ain't got nothing to do with the sweep, I'm gonna do two more, is probably Sampha, "Can't Get Close." It's just so emotional. It's just so much, it's a lot. I love that song. That's like a special song to me. And I used to always listen to this song as I walked the streets of Philly in the rain when I first came home. I'm just listening to Sampha all the time. But all of his music, for real, most of that first album, But it was like if I'm trying to get in sweet with somebody, it's a song by Keith Washington. Tonight's the Night by Keith Washington, and
Mm.
probably Keith Washington. Tonight's the night. Tonight's the night. We can
Uh-oh, you gonna
share.
sing us some bars on the
As the lights come close to me. Damn, so many. Oh man, I can't go into my what's the name right now. But it's
I'll say this. I'll say this. Save it. So now we've done this. I've asked you these questions. The people are going to be looking for Wallo's playlist. So you know how President Obama
I'm gonna
does
put it on.
his
I'm gonna put
summer
it on mine. I'm
playlist.
gonna put it on my
You need
well,
to
my site.
put
All right.
yeah, put your playlist up. Okay,
But
speaking of,
how many do I go with playlists? How many do you got to go? Because I got crazy play. My playlist be all over the
I think that it
place.
should be like a good hour worth of music. So get an hour, make your
All right,
playlist and you
cool.
know how it shows you.
But do you have to have rules to it? Can it be slow mixed with?
No, it could be anything. President
All right,
Obama's playlist has rap, it has jazz, it
all right, bet.
has,
I gotta check his
country,
out.
whatever your hour worth of music is that you think represents you, you
All
know?
right.
All right. So you talked about how you use lyrics for songs. You talked a lot about your brother Steve and
Yes,
how he was really smooth and how he had words. And you
who's
said
that guy?
later in the book, you said people who are good with people go far. Do you
Mm-hmm.
feel like you got that from watching Steve? Is that how you
Yeah.
decided to navigate life in that way? Talk a little bit
Yeah,
about that.
when you good with people, everything gonna happen. A lot of times, when you see in life, a lot of things don't happen for a lot of people because it's not good. And a lot of people in day and time, there's so many people that you see, they just victims in every story. And when you them people is a lot of times you got to get it, you uh you got to get away from them. The people that's victims in every story, every situation, they're a victim, they what's the name? And you got to ask question yourself, like, is they good or is they bad people? But like even with you, yourself, you just got to continue to be a good person and everything that meant to happen gonna happen to you. I think a lot of people in this time, everybody is chasing right now that they're willing to do any and everything to get in position that they will abandon being a good person, over having a spot right now of success, a spot right
Mhm.
now in the finance, a spot right now in the manufacture happiness or whatever it may be. So it just be like, man, being a good person is always going to win in the end.
When you're talking about being a good person, you and Gilly have done a lot of good in the neighborhoods. You've given out $5 million to
Yeah.
businesses. Can you talk a bit about that experience and any one stop that was just really memorable, in that whole experience, being able to give back?
There was so many stops because I caught myself getting really emotional because we will surprise people and they won't even know. Going to their businesses with the big check. We just knocking on the business door, sliding up in there and just walking up to him with a check. And they shocked. And it was so crazy. It was about so many people needed it that the most at that time when we showed
Mm.
up. And they was like, oh my God, I needed this guy. They were so thankful to God for sending us. It was just everything. But it was like, it's not one, it's so many that I can't just name one.
When you're talking about God coming through, for somebody and things falling into place
Mm-hmm.
throughout the book, you talk a lot about, God and prayer, and you talk about like Bible stories coming to mind
Yeah.
during different things. Like where, just kind of where did you get your spiritual base? I know you talked about spending summers in Virginia, was it there or just different things along the way? Like where did you kind of pick up that?
I always had religion around me. Whether it was the church, whether it was Islam. It was so much religion around me from all different parts. And my mom, my dad, when I was a kid, my brother Steve, Nanny. So God was always a major part of my life. No matter which how you seen it, what you name him. For me it was always just God. And that young on some of the things I seen my grandma do, some of the things that happened for our family at the roughest moments of life, it had to be God. It had to be God coming through. So I always knew that no matter the situation, I always walk with that, no matter what.
At the end of the book, you talk about redemption. Who do you think you've worked the hardest to redeem yourself with?
My family, my grandma, my mom, because they the ones always right there with my stuff. They're the ones that's directly affected by whenever I done something crazy, had to go to jail, whatever. It come to them first, the calls, the just them hearing about it first. Because no matter what, no matter how old you get, no matter how grown you think you is, you still got to represent them. You representing them. You representing your family name, and you embarrassing it. By going to jail, doing all this and that. So I said I wanted to get out. I just wanted to get out and show them that I could do right. And that was one of the most important things. And to be able to do that in a short period of time, that meant the world to me. Because some people don't get a chance to get their life right. Coming from where we come from, dudes get killed, they go and spend life in prison or whatever. So they don't get the opportunity. So I just was thankful that I got the opportunity, and I was like, man, I ain't gonna mess this up.
Vincent from Texas says that he works for Gainesville State School, a juvenile prison in Texas. What is some advice when you talk about like the alarm clock going off and, time not being on your side, gambling with time or your life? You talk about that in the middle of the book. He says, what tips could he use to encourage them to be great since he's around them all the time?
He got to show love. He got to love them. He got to talk to them, and more importantly, he got to hear them. When I think about juvenile facilities, and when I just think about growing up, I asked what was going on. I was just a lot of times when you're young and you're growing up, but me, what I'm saying, connection loss. Hey,
Are you there? Up, y'all. I think we lost Wallow, but he will be right back. What I want to encourage you all to do, if you have not already, is go to goodintentionsbook.com. Make sure that you pick up your signed copy. If you have not already, you will get 15% off with the code
there you go.
GOOD15, the number 15. All right, I think he's working it out. All right, so Wallow, you're back. So the last thing that we heard you saying was that,
Yeah,
when you go to the doctor's going to
yeah. The
tell you
doctor,
what's
the
wrong.
doctor asks you. They ask you what's wrong. We don't do that with kids a lot of times. We always tell
Mm,
them, we talk to them, no, you got to do this, you got to, but we never say, tell me what's going on, tell me what's wrong. As soon as you go to the doctor office, they don't come in the room and say, oh, this, and the third. They need to know what's going on first so they can diagnose you, then give you whatever they got to give you as the remedy to take care of your problems, right?
yep.
We don't, but you don't do that with kids. Don't nobody want to sit there and just talk to them and hear, just listen to them. And they're going to tell you everything if you get a chance to listen to them. But once you go to them and just do like this and don't listen to them, they'll shut down on you. Because I done been one. I ain't trying to hear it no more. You know everything. You got it all figured out. And don't nobody, they don't want to argue. They just be like, man, all right, whatever. And then now you closed out. You always want to keep that line of communication with young people. You want them to feel free to come to you and talk to you about whatever's going on. You don't want to be in a position where as though they don't want to hear it. They don't know. You want to be able to talk to them about whatever is going on because they're free to come to you.
All right, Vincent, that was for you in Texas at the Gainesville State School. Wallo, speaking of the state schools and, speaking to youth and being engaged in the community, I know that you have a foundation. Like everybody kind of sees you on social, they see you going these different places, but you are doing a lot of work in the community. Talk to me a bit about the purpose of your foundation and the work that it seeks to do.
Wallo267 Foundation is a foundation that's going to help juvenile offenders coming out of the institutions, help them with resources, help them, getting their life back in order to where it's supposed to be as young people, and all the stuff that I didn't have coming out, therapy, trying to help them get employment, getting identification, getting all the stuff they need to be a productive citizen. You know, I just think a lot of times we was coming out of these places and it was back to like, all right, I get out, I go right back to where I was at. Nothing, nothing. Only thing I did was sat down and juvenile facility support outside of being on probation. Other than that, it was like no real support. Like, you know, job, it was none of that. Sometimes I didn't even have it was none of that. It was just like, all right, you go now. You did your time, go home, figure it out. You know, you can't do that in the community. What's that going to do for anybody? You
And
there,
so the
Shay?
foundation
Oh.
fills in all of those gaps.
Yeah, that's what we're going to be doing, filling in all them gaps. That's what it's all about.
All right, so we are reaching close to the end of our time, and Premier has a segment. It's called 22 Questions in 2 Minutes. Are you prepared
Whoa.
for this?
Yeah, let's do it. Let me
Yes.
see this. All right, go ahead.
Get your game face on. Are you
Let me.
ready? Because there's a timer. I'm not sure if you can see the timer on the side of our screen on the production
Yeah, but they
side. There's a
said,
timer.
all right, I want to
I'm
see
keeping
this.
time.
How you going to ask
All right,
22 questions in 2 minutes? Go ahead.
22 questions.
Let me
This is
count them.
like, Family Feud, fast round. You ready?
All right. All right.
Where were you born?
Philadelphia.
Who would you want to play? Who would you want to play you in a movie? Oh, you're frozen, Wallo. You're frozen. You got it. We can't hear you.
Damn.
We can't hear you on our side. You're back. Okay, be still. Stay exactly where you are. Stay exactly where you are. Are you back?
Oh, I'm back. You hear?
Oh, Wallo. You're gone completely now.
How about
yes. Now? Okay, yes. Okay. All right. We're gonna start.
Go ahead.
Who would you want to play you in a movie?
Will Smith, come on.
What chore do you hate doing?
Washing dishes.
What's your biggest fear? You're running
falling out of plane. Go ahead.
Who makes you laugh the most?
Gilly.
What's one thing you need to have in your fridge at all times?
Food.
What was your favorite subject in school?
Math.
Who is the most interesting person you met recently?
Sanford.
What's your middle name?
Jamal. Come on, you got to ask faster.
What's your biggest pet peeve?
People getting on my nerves.
What's your favorite hobby?
Nothing.
What's your guilty pleasure?
Guilty pleasure. What that mean, Gilly? Strolling.
Do you have any hidden talents?
I can sing.
Lies. What color is your toothbrush?
White.
If you had a pet, what would you get?
A dog.
What's your favorite word?
Huh?
What's your favorite word?
Huh? I'd be like, huh?
What's the last album you bought or streamed?
Babyface Ray.
What's the last gift you gave?
Money.
What causes is dear to your heart?
Giving the homeless and people just in bad situations. Damn, this is hard.
What is your greatest achievement?
My family seeing me do right.
Where do you want to go that you've never been?
Tokyo.
All right, that's all the questions.
Did I beat?
No, you didn't. You took too long.
How took too? How it froze up?
That was more than 2 minutes, Wallo.
No, it wasn't. No, you answered the questions too slow, Shay. You was asking the questions too slow.
I'll take the fall.
And then it froze on me.
I'll take the fall. Maybe next time. Get it together.
Damn, that's a lot of stuff.
All right, we are going to close it out with this question from Marlena from Michigan. How do you stay motivated day in and day out?
I'm happy to be here. I look at a thing called World Meters every day. Worldmeters.com show you how many people on the planet, how many people was born this year, how many people was born today, how many people died this year, how many people died today. And I look at that all the time, and I'm just be so thankful to be here when I see how many people died today. Because every day I wake up and pray, I'm just like, I look at that and I'm like, I made it another day. I'm here. And nothing motivate me more than life. More to be able to get up, go outside, breathe, be around here, have another opportunity to dream, materialize my dreams, eat the food I want to eat, be with the people I want to be with, laugh, joke, entertain. That's what keep me motivated.
I love it. Thank you for your time today. Everybody in the chat, thank you for coming. We saw
Thank
you,
y'all.
we saw your comments. If you haven't already, you can go to
Please
goodintentionsbook.com,
go there.
get
Get
your
it for
autographed edition. You can be entered from now until September 30th. So if you are waiting on payday, that is okay. You can get your book between now and September 30th and be entered into this drawing for one-on-one time with Wallo, a 30-minute Zoom. Wallo, give everybody your sign off, your last
Listen,
word.
man, I appreciate everybody that got my book, everybody that's on here. And I also want to say, if you got the book already, holidays is coming up. Get a bunch of them for gifts for friends, families, associates, all that type of stuff. Get the book right now. Thank you for reading my book. Thank you for sharing it with whoever. And I just appreciate y'all being here.
All right, y'all. Have a good afternoon.
Have a great
Peace.
afternoon. Thank you.